Hello, good evening, everyone. Just testing to see if you can hear me. Can anybody hear me? There I am. Wonderful. All right, all right. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty, but I think we are good now. Awesome. That's great. All right, so if you can just give us 2 minutes and then we're going to go ahead and get started, okay? All right. Good night, everybody. Good night. And thank you so much for your patience. And I am excited that you have chosen to be here live with us tonight. We have some wonderful information that we are going to share with you. And I know that you're going to be blessed. I just wanted to make sure that everyone has their pens, their paper out, because Stacy is going to share some great information with us tonight, and I want to make sure that you don't miss any of that information. So I want to know, where are some of you calling us from? So in the chat, if you're hearing me, can you just go ahead and say where you are dialing in from tonight? I see Tracy on. I see Baltimore, Maryland. I see Detroit, Michigan. I see Atlanta, Georgia, baby. Yes, Carol. I see lots of Atlanta. Oh my goodness. New Jersey, Baltimore, Birmingham, Alabama, Laurel, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Eastern Pennsylvania, Stroudsburg, Detroit. That's wonderful. Awesome. Well, listen, Kim Jones and I have partnered with Stacy to present this information to you tonight. And I'm not going to take a lot of time because I want to make sure that you get the information that you came on to hear from Stacy. So my name is Ranelli Williams, and I am a certified public accountant. My husband and I have a tax and accounting business. I'm also your legacy building catalyst, where I help faith-based entrepreneurs and couples master their money and work towards building a strong financial legacy. In addition to that, I am the co-host with Kim of the Lift Conference. And we're just excited. We just had our first annual conference back in November. We're planning our second annual for October, and we have great things that you'll hear more about later on. But so Kim is actually having some issues getting on. So I'll just, Kim is a career professional. Kim specializes in training and in career development, and a wonderful, wonderful speaker and my wonderful co-host. So I'm excited to have partnered with her in this. And we brought Stacy on because we have been following Stacy. We have been seeing the great things that she is doing with Blogalicious, and we wanted to learn from her. And so I'm not going to take a lot of time. I'm going to actually turn over to Stacy now and have her tell us about herself, and then came to share with us tonight.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Drop us a note in the chat so I know that you can hear me and my microphone's working. Awesome. Yay. It's so great to see all of the names and all of the different cities that you guys are dialing in from. And I'm guessing, but I think I see some familiar names in here like Bernadette and Chantel and Star. If you are who I think you are, then we are friends. So that's so awesome. And I'm excited to make new friends tonight also. So thank you for being here. I know there are a ton of other things you could be doing with your Wednesday evening. So I do not take that lightly. So as Ranelli mentioned, I am going to be speaking to you tonight about hosting events as a strategy for building your business, because I am all about events. Hey, Joy, yay, she's a rock star. Joy is one of the students in my Rockstar coaching program. Glad that you're here. And I love events. You have to know that about me. I've always loved events since I was a young girl, and in college is really when I got bitten with the event producing bug. I did a talent show and a pageant actually for one of the student associations on campus. And that's when I realized, okay, I really enjoy pulling this together. But it always seemed like events are just for fun, right? You bring people together, they have a good time, everybody goes home. It wasn't until much later when I realized that you can use events not only as a strategy to grow your brand, but also to generate revenue. So I have been implementing events as part of my business model for the last 10 years, and I have learned so much, and I can't wait to share my successful event recipe with you all this evening. Yes, and I saw someone mention Blogalicious. Yes, if you haven't come to a Blogalicious, you have to come. I promise it will change you. Okay, so Ranelli, let me know if you want me to share my screen with my slides, because I think we're seeing your desktop. So I can do that too. Just let me know.
Yes, you can go ahead and take over, Stacy.
Share my screen. Okay. Give me a second, guys. Here we go. Screen share. There we go. Okay. All right. Ranelli, can you see my slide? I just don't want to have to flip back and forth to the chat to make sure.
Yes, I am
Okay,
seeing it, but I'm seeing not the full screen.
got it. I think that's the best I can do. I thought that you were going to do it for me. So if you guys are okay with this, then we can just roll with this. What do you think? Is it okay like this, Ranelli, or do you want to share it from your end?
If you're on a Mac, you can hit play. All right, so people are saying fine, let's roll with it.
Okay, hang on. Let me do this. Let me open it up a different way. La-da. Okay. Aha. Okay, got it. So now I'm just going to go back to you guys, share my screen. In full screen mode. Now we should be in business. All right, cool. All right, so again, hi. Thanks for bearing with as I got my life together. I made this PowerPoint in Canva so that it could look pretty, but then I'm so used to using PowerPoint and it has different functionality. So thanks for rolling with it. So I entitled this presentation More Than a Happy Hour because even though people like to do happy hour type events, networking events, socials, all those kinds of things, I want everybody to know that really events can be more than a happy hour and they can actually be a strategy that you can implement to grow your business. All right? Okay, cool. So, really quickly about me, my name is Stacy Ferguson. I'm also known online as Justice Fergie, and that's because I used to be an attorney and I practiced for 10 years. I did advertising and privacy law and corporate law as well. And I started blogging in 2006 when I was still practicing, and I started a blog with two friends about work life balance and being a mom. I have three children and also a lawyer. But at the time, I wanted to remain anonymous online. So I came up with the alias Justice Fergie, and that's what stuck. And I have been Justice Fergie for the last 11 years. So you can find me across platforms at that handle. And just to share with you, I've done a ton of events in my time as a blogger, as a media entrepreneur. But I wanted to highlight for you three of my signature events that some of you on the webinar may have attended. So the big one that most of you are familiar with is Blogalicious. And Blogalicious was started in 2009 as an event to really bring together bloggers of color of all different backgrounds and social media enthusiasts in kind of a safe environment for them to connect with each other, to learn, and also to connect with brands. And so that has been really, really fun for me. And it has grown so much over the last 9 years. This year will be our ninth annual Blogalicious, and we're going to be in Miami in October. So registration is open. If you haven't signed up for Blogalicious, please do that. It is going to be amazing as always. And then, and I should say that Blogalicious is an event that hosts between, depending on the year and the venue, it hosts between 300 to 400 influencers. And so I'll tell you later why that information is important. But I just wanted to give you a sense of what that is. It's a 3-day conference that travels to different locations, brings together influencers, and welcomes about 300 to 400. Okay. Then I also have my Life is the Dinner Party events. And so those are smaller events, really like 6 to 8 people, not big at all. But those I started 2 years ago because I really enjoy entertaining, and I love dinner parties and eat dining out. And I wanted to combine that with the fact that I love to give people help with their businesses from a strategy perspective. So I decided 2 years ago, why don't I combine these two passions of mine into one event? And so I came up with this concept for Life is the Dinner Party. And that's because my personal blog is actually called Life is the Party. So it's a play on that. But basically, those are events that people sign up for and pay for. Before the event, I ask them a series of questions so I can hone in on what their main business challenge is that I can help them with over dinner. And so by the end of the dinner, my goal is always to have the guests walk away with a solution to one of their business challenges. So those are really fun. And then the third signature event I have is a 2-day sponsorships intensive. And that's a workshop training where I take everything I've learned over the last decade about sponsorships. So everything from how to pitch a sponsor, what has to go in your deck, what the script is for when you speak with them, how you negotiate the contracts, how you follow up, how you sign the contract, how you then execute on what you have promised. And I take all of that information and I share it in a 2-day workshop. And so this year will be the third year that I'm doing that event. And the next one's actually coming up in April in DC. So I wanted to highlight these 3 different events because they all look very different. They all serve different purposes and they may each have a different audience. And so I wanted to lay that foundation as I go into the different ingredients in your event recipe. All right? Great. Now, to my point earlier, right? Events are more than a happy hour. And so I'm always coming from a place of intention, no matter what I do. And so I want you to also operate with the intention of getting some kind of return on investment when it comes to events, right? ROI. So here I have some bullets about what kinds of ROI you can get from hosting an event. And of course, it can go beyond this list, but these are the ones that I find are the most important and beneficial to my personal brand. So the first one is events can bring you recognition and visibility, meaning in this space that we operate in, right? Whether you're a blogger, whether you're an entrepreneur, a small business owner, a writer, whatever you do, there comes a certain influence with recognition and visibility. If you position yourself in a certain way, people will automatically attribute more credibility to you, and that will open doors for other opportunities. So if you are hosting an event that builds recognition for you and allows you and your brand to be highly visible, then that is a return on your investment that you can take to the bank, because that recognition and visibility actually turns into value that you can trade on, if that makes sense. So another reason why you might want to host an event is to build a community and build your network. And that's very much what Blogalicious is all about for me. It's a community first and foremost. It started out that way. It didn't start out as a business. It didn't start out with the intent to make money. It started out to build community. And what's so special about that is once you have that community in place, then you're setting yourself up to do so many other things that use that community as the foundation. So, for example, if it weren't for the Blogalicious community, I wouldn't be able to attract sponsors because the reason why they're coming is for the community. If it wasn't for the Blogalicious community, I wouldn't be able to have an influencer marketing network because the network is sourced directly from that community. So think about ways in which building a community could be beneficial to you. Another reason why you might want to host an event is to develop those sponsor relationships. And I know that sponsorships is something that a lot of you are interested in, and for good reason. Sponsorships are a big part of my business model. Just to give you some perspective, for Blogalicious, for example, sponsorships, I would say, make up about 80% of our revenue because the event that we put on is expensive, right? If you've been to a Blogalicious, you know that we pull out all the stops and you get a great venue, you get swag, you get meals, you get a nice hotel, wonderful speakers, and the list goes on. And all of those costs are not fully covered by the tickets. And so we have to make up the difference with our sponsorships. And so we are able to attract and work with sponsors to help us fund the event. And because of that, 9 years in, I now have relationships with, so many sponsors. I can't even name them all, from Coca-Cola to Kia Motors to Disney, and on and on. And that's because of the event. Another reason why you would want to host an event is also to develop strategic partnerships and to enter into collaborations. Now, I love collaborations because I always believe that, two heads are better than one. And I really like finding people who I have synergies with, like Ranelli and Kim, for example, tonight on this webinar, right? We're collaborating on this webinar. And the reason why I think collaborations are magic, and I think I actually have a blog post by that name, is because we're able to leverage each other's gifts and skills, right? So, for example, I get to meet so many new folks tonight because Ranelli and Kim have you in their community. So, and then on the flip side, they're able to share my expertise with their community. So this is a great example of a collaboration, and events allow you to do that really well. Next, it allows you to showcase a skill set. So, if you have an event where you are the speaker, where you are a performer, maybe you're the MC, the list could go on. Ironically, at Blogalicious, I rarely actually speak. However, the fact that I produce the event is still showcasing that skill set of mine to people. So that's another opportunity to position yourself and to show the world what kind of skills you have. And then finally on this list is events can be an additional revenue stream. And I, know that so many people host events and they either don't break even or they lose money, which just breaks my heart because I know that with, a little bit of strategy and using a formula that works, every event should be able to be profitable. And once you can pin down that formula, then hosting events can be a revenue stream that you're adding to your business model. So I just wanted to start off with that overview of what the ROI is for events so that you can see we're not just gathering people in a room and giving them free drinks, right? We're being very intentional about building visibility, a community, relationships, showcasing our skills, and adding to our bottom line. All right. So I've got 5 ingredients that go into my quote unquote successful event recipe. And so I want to start with the first one here. And I'm so sorry that I can't see the chat window because I have my screen on full screen, but I'll make sure to catch up on your comments and questions at the end. Okay. So the first ingredient is you have to have a defined purpose for your event. And why is this important? I speak to so many women, especially, who say, yes, I'm going to have a networking event, right? For women to empower them. And that sounds good on one level. On another level, it drives me crazy because that's not a specific purpose. Everyone will have a networking event to empower women, right? But what makes yours special? Why are you doing it? So I really want you to think about, if you are considering hosting an event, it has to have a specific goal and it has to have a realistic mission. So going back to the examples that I shared earlier, for Blogalicious, my specific goal is to elevate the voices of multicultural influencers, right? And I actually have a secondary goal, which is to connect the influencers with the brands that are going to be there. But I'm very clear about that. And what that does, what being clear does, is it allows me to then craft the event that helps me to achieve that goal. Imagine how many speaker pitches, sponsor ideas, just event ideas in general, people throw at me, right? Like, oh, I have this idea. I want to do a Blogalicious, right? If I didn't have a defined purpose with a specific goal and mission, I would be pulled in 55 different directions. But because I'm clear on what the purpose of the event is, I'm able to filter through all of the shiny objects to make sure that my event is delivering to my attendees at the end of the day what they came there for. So the minute that you decide you're having an event, and I should say, when I'm saying event, it's not only a live event like a conference or a workshop or a networking event, but it's also a virtual event like a webinar like tonight, right? An online training, a telesummit. All of these concepts apply to events, whether live or virtual. So the minute you decide that you're going to have an event, no matter what type, you want to immediately focus in on what is the goal for this event. And the goal can be, I'm building community. The goal can be, I need to generate some cash really quickly. The goal can be, I want to position myself as an expert in a particular area. Whatever that is, you just need to be clear on it. And you also have to have a mission that's realistic. And so actually on the Blogalicious website, our mission is out there for you to see. I think if you go to blogalicious.com/mission, you can see it, right? And I have a 3-fold mission that talks about building that sisterhood, building community, being a mouthpiece for a group that historically has been under brands, and allowing brands to see the power of our demographic as women of color. And so with that mission, I look through that lens for everything that I do. Not only do my attendees appreciate that, but the sponsors appreciate that too. I had a call today with a sponsor who's asked, what is your mission for this year? And the reason why they're interested in that information is because they want to make sure that they're aligning with a strategic partner that is on the same page as they are. And so if I'm able to articulate a clear mission to them, it helps them decide whether or not our event is a good fit for them to sponsor. And also it helps us come up with, jointly what their sponsorship is going to look like in a way that fits in with my event and that feels authentic and organic. So really, really important. You can't do anything without this bottom line of a defined purpose, and that's having a specific goal and a realistic mission. All right. The next ingredient in my event formula is a solid guest list, right? Any event it's going to be a flop if no one shows up. And so you want to make sure your guest list is solid, and you want to make sure you have a clear target market and you have research on that market. So I'm going to take a little bit of time on this one because it's just so important. Target market is really everything when it comes to business, right? If you're speaking to the wrong group, you're not going to make one sale. If you don't know who your people are, you can't market properly. And whether you have a service or a product that you're selling, you need to be extremely focused and clear on who you're serving. So if you're not, that's okay. Now's the time to figure that out. But make sure you are not hosting an event, promoting an event without knowing who it is that you want to attend. And so I'll use a different example for this one. So for my strategy dinners, right? I know my target market is a woman entrepreneur who is probably a solopreneur, right? They don't have a large team, and they're experiencing some type of operational challenge in their business or revenue model challenge in their business. So those are the people that I am targeting for those dinners. And I'm very clear on that because it probably wouldn't make sense for me to invite someone who is a corporate executive to the dinner, right? I'm not going to be able to solve a, Fortune 500 level challenge over dinner, right? Also, if someone is attending who is part of a larger team and they answer to, 10, 15 other people, we are not going to be able to have an effective exchange during the dinner if just that one person attends, because their job depends upon so many other people, which is why the solopreneurs work best. We're able to get right to the root of the issue over that dinner and hopefully solve it by the end, right? So that's an example to share about how clear you have to be about the market of who's going to attend your event. Now, let's talk about the research part. You also have to spend some time understanding your audience.
Stacy, I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you stop sharing your screen? We're going to
Oh,
take over.
oh, sure.
Thank you.
Let me go back here. Was it not working out?
No. We're
Oh,
going to we're going to take over.
okay. Here we go. So my screen share should be off. Are you guys good? Oh, I see what you're saying. My slides weren't matching. Sorry, guys. Okay, great. Okay, can everybody see this ingredient number 2 slide? Okay, perfect. As you can see, the slides are really just pretty cocktail drinks, so you weren't missing a ton of visuals anyway. So back to the foundational research part of it. You want to spend time looking into exactly what your audience does, what they like, what their background is, right? All of those demographical and psychographical questions. For example, in my sponsor deck for Blogalicious, I have a slide that's entirely focused on all of the attributes and characteristics of my attendees. So I'm able to say their age range. I'm able to say how many are parents. I'm able to say what ethnicity they are, only because that's an important factor for my event. I'm able to say, whether or not they are novice or veteran bloggers, right? Whatever questions are relevant to you and your event and your audience, those are the ones you need to be 100% clear on. And that information is going to help you market accordingly. And also, if sponsorships are important to you, it will also help you sell sponsorships. So I want you to be very mindful about capturing that kind of information from the outset. And a lot of times people ask me, well, how do we get that information? All you have to do is ask. So in my registration form, I have a list of questions. And so it may seem a little tedious, but I know that information is that important to me that I need my attendees to go through that process. So I think in my registration form, I might have up to 25 questions, and they've just got to answer them, right? If they want to attend the event, because that information I gather and I use year after year after year. And actually, quick tip, probably many of you are familiar with Eventbrite. It seems to be like the winner among event software these days. Eventbrite makes it so easy for you to create custom questions in your ticket forms so that you can, ask whatever question you want. It doesn't have to be one of the stock Eventbrite questions. But then the cool thing is on the back end, you can log in and run a report, and Eventbrite will show you the answers in chart format. And so what I do is I just screenshot those pie charts, those bar graphs, and I use them in my post-event reports. So make sure that you're asking those questions. Even if you're not sure you're going to need the information, it's always better to be on the safe side and ask for it and have it than to not. On that same note, and hopefully this is a no-brainer for you guys, you want to make sure you are gathering email addresses, because you are building your email list, you are building your marketing list, right? And at the same time, you're building your community. So make sure for every event, you're collecting that email, even if it's a virtual event, especially if it's a virtual event, rather. Uh, and then make sure that you are using that email in a database format so that you can stay in contact with them and develop that relationship. Okay? So that's ingredient number 2. Make sure you have a solid guest list. You know 100% who your target market is, right? You can close your eyes and see your ideal customer, your ideal event attendee, and make sure that you are doing the research on your attendees so you can use that information to leverage for the next event. Okay, so we can go on to ingredient number 3. And if you guys have questions as I'm talking, feel free to drop them in the chat because now I can see them. Oh, Bernadette said, what was number 1? Number 1 was having a defined purpose, a specific goal, and a clear mission. Can you advance the slide, Ranelli? Or Kim? I think Kim's the one in charge now. No problem. All right. Well, as they're working on that, I'll just start talking. So, ingredient number 3 is going to be a relevant format. Okay. Now, this is actually something that I think a lot of people overlook, but you want your event to have a relevant format, one that is achieving the goals of your brand, of your business, of this particular event, and also one that appeals to your audience. And so what I mean by that is, I know for Blogalicious that my goal is twofold, right? The first one was to create a sisterhood, to foster networking and learning. And the second one is to make sure that my bloggers connect with the brands and vice versa. And so I have to come up with a format that is conducive to achieving both of those goals. Hang on, I'm going to chat Kim here. And so how do I do that, right? Thank you. Perfect. I wanted you to see my pretty old-fashioned cocktail. So how do I do that? How do I create a format that's relevant to my goals and that's also appealing to my attendees? That's not always easy. So what I've done is decided that the event is going to be over the course of 3 days, right? Because it would be far too much to kind of smash it all into one day. And it's going to be a combination of social events and educational events. So if you've been to a Blogalicious, you know that we have our keynotes and our workshops and our breakout sessions during the day. And then peppered in that, we have morning breaks and afternoon breaks where the bloggers can visit with the brands, visit with the sponsors, and go to the booths and the hospitality suites and do the test drives of the cars and all that fun stuff. And then at the end of the day, we wrap up with some kind of social event, whether it's a reception or a party or a movie screening or something of that nature. So in doing that, I'm able to achieve my goals, right, of sisterhood, networking, learning, and also brand engagement because I'm building in to my event format both of those considerations. Okay? So thinking of your goal and thinking of your mission, right, which was the first ingredient, now that you know what those are, how can you craft your event format to achieve those goals? So, for example, if you want to teach, right, if you want to host a training or a workshop, it probably doesn't make sense to do it in a happy hour or, meetup format because it's going to be noisy. People are going to be eating, drinking, and trying to chat with one another, and they're not going to be focused and listening to what you have to say. If you want, for example, to host a book signing, right? You want to do it in a place where whoever the author is, maybe it's you, can have the opportunity to do a reading of an excerpt, to sign books, to take photos. So you want to think about the venue. Is it conducive to that? So whatever your goal is, whatever your mission is, you want to think about how you can build that into an event format that's going to help you reach that goal. So, and one consideration that we have every single year that I just cannot figure out the perfect balance is I usually have a very jam-packed schedule for Blogalicious. And that's because I have these two goals. On the one hand, I really want all of my attendees to submit to be speakers. I really want to give them the information that they're coming for. So I want to have all the workshops, all the breakouts. I want to wow them with amazing keynotes. But we've only got, 12 hours in the day to work with. And then I have to remember at the end of the day, the sponsors are paying my bills. So if they say, hey, we want to do a movie screening, I've got to figure out how those 2 hours can be taken out of my agenda and given over to them. So you have to always be thinking in the back of your mind, what are your goals, and how can you achieve them in a way that's still appealing to your audience? So one of the best compliments or testimonials we've ever gotten for Blogalicious is that it's like a party where you happen to learn something. And I forget who said that, but I just love that. And it's always stuck with me because that's exactly the feeling and the energy that I want to evoke. You're having a good time, but you walk away with a takeaway. And so because I've been able to achieve that with the event format, I'm a happy camper. All right. And so we can move on to ingredient number 4. So ingredient number 4 is having a handle on logistics. Now, logistics can be a bear, no matter what the event is, right? You have to be dealing with your venue, which is usually the most important consideration, and also your vendors. So Where do I begin with this one? And if you guys have logistics questions, let me know. But um, if you have amazing content, if you have amazing speakers, if you have, if you're doing a fashion show and you have wonderful designs to showcase, if the venue sucks, it doesn't matter how great your content or fashions are, right? If the AV isn't working the way you need to, then it's all for naught. If the caterer shows up late, then you're in a jam, right? If the programs don't arrive on time, think about all of the things that can go wrong and put those in the logistics category. And so that's why it's so important for you to have a handle on every single logistical element that's going into your event, whether it's live or virtual. And so I spend a lot of time outlining what I call a run of show. And I encourage you all to do this no matter, the size of your event or the duration. I'll do a run of show for an event, even if it's an hour-long event. And I definitely have one for Blogalicious, which is 3 days long. And so a run of show is basically like an event script, or if any of you have gotten married, then like your wedding planner has kind of like the agenda or the schedule of how things are supposed to go. That's exactly what I do for every single event that I host. And so on the run of show, I will have, what the venue is, who my contacts are there. I will walk through the venue first to make sure that it's fitting my needs. Backup plans for weather, right? Asking questions about Wi-Fi and AV capabilities and security, all of those kinds of things you want to include in your run of show. And then also, it's really important to think about who are your partners and making sure that the event is going to run smoothly. None of us can do it alone, right? We always have some kind of partner, whether it's a photographer, a videographer, a caterer, a tech person, let's see, a florist, right? I could go on. You can think about all of the different kinds of vendors that you're working with and know that your event is only going to be as good as your vendors, right? They can definitely make or break you. So you want to make sure that you are vetting them, getting personal recommendations, making sure that you're getting references, you're seeing their work, examples of their work that they've done previously for other clients, keeping them really informed. You can never give your vendors too much information or communicate with them too often. You want to make them understand your audience. You want to make them understand your event so that everyone is on the same page. And so when I create my run of show and I walk through the entire event, starting from setup to breakdown, I list it all out with times, with key, points of contact. I will give a copy of that to my vendors so that they know what's going on and they see where they fit in as part of the bigger picture. So just make sure that you are thinking about logistics. And if logistics is not your thing, which it can't be everybody's thing, that's okay. You should find someone for who that is their thing. Because there is someone out there who loves dealing with, hotel room blocks and, banquet managers and all of that stuff. And actually, for Blogalicious, I do have that person. I have an event person, Carla. She's amazing. And that is what she does. So I can focus on making sure my event has great content, my attendees are having a good time, my sponsors are getting their ROI. And so Carla is in the background with her team, making sure that, the AC temperature is correct and, someone who lost a laptop can find it at security and all of those things that I just don't have the brain space for during the event. So definitely think of logistics as a big consideration because that will actually, decide whether or not your attendees have a flawless event experience. Okay, so moving on to ingredient number 5. So this ingredient, also extremely, extremely important, It's having a social promotion strategy. Okay. Um, it's 2017. It doesn't matter what your business is, what your event is. You have to be promoting it using social. And why you're doing that is because you want to leverage your networks and you want to establish your brand. So, fun fact, we have never spent advertising dollars, or I should say marketing dollars, on Blogalicious. The only thing we may have done was there's this site called Atlanta Daybook. And so we did purchase kind of an e-blast through there one year. But other than that, our marketing is strictly through social media. And that's an important point because this is a really amazing resource that you all have at your fingertips. You know, Twitter is free, Facebook is free. And of course, you can pay to boost ads and all that kind of thing, but you really don't have to if you have built up a social following of engaged participants. And so here's the key: you don't just want to, decide one day I'm doing an event and then start kind of spamming your people with posts about it. You want to be strategic about how you're promoting your event on social. So we have a calendar and we decide, okay, our event is on this date. That means we need to open ticket sales on this date. And what we're going to do in order to promote ticket sales is have a contest. And the contest will launch on this date and it will entail these things. People will have to enter by this date and do these things, right? And then we'll announce the winner. People will get excited, et cetera, et cetera. So we have a series of campaigns that we implement on social media, all leading up to Blogalicious. And so whether you're having, a smaller event, a more intimate event, you still should have a social promotion calendar that's taking into consideration things like holidays and weekends, other maybe competing events that are happening. And you should account for that and figure out ways to work around those and to make sure that your event is standing out among that. Um, One really successful strategy that I've implemented year after year is having social media ambassadors. So there are people that are super fans of you and your brand and your community. Sorry, water break. So you want to identify who those are. I bet if you think about it, you can identify a couple of those people off the top of your head. People who are just always excited to share and support whatever it is that you're doing. Reach out to those people. Give them maybe a complimentary ticket to your event or a discount, right? Or maybe you make them an affiliate, even better, so that if they sell a ticket for you, they get a cut. Everybody wins in that case. Whatever the structure of the arrangement, identify those people, bring them on board, and give them that ownership of your event so they can get excited and promote it to their social channels. So we always have social media ambassadors for the conference that we rely on to get the message out. And we'll often give them a complimentary ticket to give away and generate buzz and excitement through a contest. And something else we also do that I think has been very effective is enlisting what we call media partners. So there are other communities out there in the blogging and digital media space that we think align with our mission. And we think their community members would benefit from attending our event. So what we'll do is, for example, Blog Her, if you guys are familiar, is the biggest women's blogging conference, and we work with Blog Her as a media partner. So Blog Her will share out an e-blast or a blog post or tweets, however we structure it, to their community for Blogalicious. In exchange, they're able to give their folks a discount code. And then we'll do the same for Blog Her when it's time for their conference. So think about who out there shares a community that could benefit from the event that you're trying to promote, and reach out to them and ask them if they'll partner with you and figure out what the mutual benefit is, what the win-win with what ooh, that was a tongue twister. What the win-win is, and put that all together into a media partnership. And what we'll do is we'll put our media partner logos on our website, in our program, on all of our marketing materials. So they're getting the benefit of that visibility in exchange for sharing our event with their networks. So it's been a really good arrangement for us, and we've media partnered with everyone from BlogHer to Hispanicize to Essence. So it's been a really good strategy for us. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next slide so that we can recap, because I do want to get to your questions. So here again are the 5 ingredients for your successful event recipe. The first one is a defined purpose. So you can't do anything without being clear on what your goal is and what your mission is, right? The second thing is having a solid guest list. You've got to be crystal clear on who your target audience is, and you have to have that demographical information about them. The third ingredient is a relevant format, and you want to make sure the format of your event is conducive to achieving your goals and also is attractive to your attendees. And then next, you want to make sure you have a handle on the logistics. And if you can't, make sure you can work with someone who does, because you want to be sure that you have everything surrounding your venue and your vendors locked down. And then finally, you want to have a successful social promotion strategy that is intentional, that is planned out, and that's going to be effective. And that can include things like social media ambassadors and media partners. So those are my 5 ingredients for a successful event. I make sure that for every event I do, big or small, short or long, that I hit all of these different ingredients, because I have found this is really the formula that can make or break your event. So I hope this was useful. I hope I gave you some good information. I really want to thank you for the time spent. And I am really excited to hear what questions you have, because that lets me know where you are with your brands and your events. And I'm always looking forward to helping out. So I think I'm going to turn it over to Ranelli and Kim.
Yes,
Okay,
I'm
great.
here, Stacy. Oh my goodness.
Perfect.
Thank you so much, Stacy, for this information. It was a lot of information, but it was
I know.
great information. No, I mean, I was sitting here taking notes, and just I like especially that social promotion calendar
Yeah.
that you went over, and the series of campaigns, because Kim and I did an event last fall, and we weren't privy to this information, and so we're just excited to have this information in our hands. We're excited to have partnered with you so that we can um, learn from you and grow, into a successful event such as a Blogalicious. It's awesome what you have pulled together and the information that you share with us. So those of you who have questions, you can go ahead and post your questions in the chat box, and Stacy will pick up those questions and we'll get them answered for you. But I just, I'm excited that so many of you have stayed on until the end, because we have some special gifts in store for you and that we want to share with you. Like I said, Kim and I are co-hosts of the Lift Conference, and I mentioned at the beginning that conference is coming up in October, and I want to invite each and every one of you who are on here to join us at the Lift Conference. And why do I want you to join us at the Lift Conference? Because the Lift Conference is the conference that promotes God first. It promotes God first as the foundation, and that's near and dear to my heart. That's near and dear to Kim's heart. And we make sure that is the foundation of our conference, and it just focuses on helping faith-based women be intentional about finishing strong and transforming their lives and business. There's enough space for all of us to win. And so that's why we've put this conference together, because we want everyone to win. So who should attend the conference? Um, it's faith-based entrepreneurs, like I said, faith-based entrepreneurs who understand that God is the foundation of your life, not only your life, but of your business as well. People who are tired of the same motivational events with no tools, strategies, and clear instructions. We want to help people who want to acquire a clear mental picture of their brand concept and idea, people who are tired of distractions and excuses that keep you from creating what you are called to create, from fulfilling your purpose, people who are just ready to become CEOs of your own company, ready to walk in your unique greatness. We all have greatness within us, and I didn't always believe that, but I believe that today. And I know that we all can walk in our unique greatness, and just be ready for the how to's, the step by step instructions to start right away. So, what is it that you're going to learn when you come to the Lift conference? Listen, we've already started booking our speakers. As a matter of fact, I'm excited to say that Stacy is going to be one of our speakers at the Lift conference. Yay! I'm excited about that. But we're going to be covering things like branding. We're going to be covering marketing, which is what helps to get you known. We're going to be covering sales, which is what helps to get you paid. We're going to be covering sistership and collaborations. Listen, if Kim and I didn't come together to collaborate, there would be no Lift conference. If we didn't collaborate with Stacy, we won't be able to provide the information that we were able to provide to you tonight for free. And so we're going to talk about how to effectively collaborate with your sisters that are going to be at the conference, building multiple streams of income, nonprofit success. One of the things that a couple of people reached out last time and said, we don't cover nonprofits. So for those of you who have nonprofits, we are going to be covering that at the 2017 Lift conference. And dressing for success. We have a fashion specialist that's going to be coming and talking to us about that. So I'm just excited about the things that are going to be at the Lift conference, and what you will walk away with, honestly. You're going to walk away with the knowledge, with the tools, with the strategies that are going to help you to take your business to the next level. We don't want motivation. We've gotten enough of motivation. You can Google and find the motivation that you need, but we really want you to walk away with the tools necessary to grow your business and take it to the next level. And that's why we've partnered with people like Stacy. That's why we're bringing back Donna Hicks Izard. That's why we're bringing back Amber Noble Garland. And there's some other special speakers. I didn't even mention our keynote speaker yet. But we'll talk about that at a later date. But I'm telling you, we're bringing you the speakers that are going to help to take your business to the next level. So, who will be there with you? Other faith-based entrepreneurs, faith-based entrepreneurs who are ready to come together as sisters, who are ready to collaborate, who are ready to be CEOs and not just the mundane workers in our business, who are ready to bring a team together, so that you're not a one-man show, so that you're able to grow your business. That's who's going to be at the Lift conference. And I spoke about the multitude of speakers that we have lined up for you for 27 Lift conference. The conference is going to be October 14th and 15th of this year. October 24th and 15th. So make sure you put that date in your calendar. And tonight tonight we have a special offer for you for the conference. If you book your ticket, if you book your ticket by March 15th, which is next Wednesday, it's a 2-day conference. We went from 1 day to 2 day because we just didn't have enough time in a 1-day conference to give you all the information that we wanted to share with you. And so it's going to be a 2-day conference. If you book your ticket by March 15th, you will get the general admission will be $99. $99 is the investment for a 2-day conference. And you hear the type of speakers that we are going to have at the conference. That's a giveaway. The regular price for the general admission is $179. But like I said, if you get your ticket by next Wednesday, it's $99. And we also have 3 monthly installments of $45 each. So you can, if you get your ticket by next Wednesday again, you can do the installment plan if you don't have the full $99. Okay? So that's your minimal investment. We have also, we have VIP registration that you're able to take advantage of. And if you go on that website, www.liftconference2017.com, you'll be able to see all of the prices that are effective until March 15th. After that, the price is going to go up. So make sure that you get your ticket. And for those of you who get your ticket by March 15th, everyone who purchases by March 15th, they are going to get a Lift t-shirt. Exciting. Everyone who purchases by March 15th, you'll get a Lift t-shirt. You're also going to get a guide. We've polled some of our speakers, and we've come up with 7 things that entrepreneurs can do immediately to make money right away in their business. And we've pulled that guide together, and everyone who registers by the 15th, you're going to get that guide as well. So you're going to get your t-shirt, you're going to get your guide, and then you'll also be entered to win a business plan package. A business plan is so key for people in business who are starting out, and even those who are more advanced in business. We may have created a business plan in the beginning, but never took the time to update it. And so get your ticket by March 15th. You'll be entered into a drawing to get a free business plan package. If you pay in full, if you pay the full $99 by March 15th, next Wednesday, then you're going to also be entered into a drawing to get a spa treatment at the conference venue. We're having the conference at Bushkill Inn and Conference Center, and there's a spa on the premises, and someone is going to win a spa treatment at the Bushkill Inn and Conference Center if you pay in full. So you have 1 week, and you don't wait until next Wednesday. Go ahead and register tonight, because those of you who register tonight, actually, I'm going to pick one person to have one-on-one session with Amber Noble Garland. And I'll tell you, those of you who were at the conference last year, you know exactly who Amber is. And she's going to be giving a 30-minute session with someone who registers tonight. So I'm not sure what's going on in the chat because I can't see the chat right now, but yes, I'm so happy that that slide came up. We're also having a Platinum VIP day, and as the time goes on, we'll tell you more about that, but that's on Friday. It's an intimate session with just 20 people, and where we're gonna be, providing the blueprint. We're going to have everyone who registers for that will walk away with a business plan package. They're going to walk away with a new logo, or if they don't have a logo, they'll get a new logo or an updated logo, just a whole social media package and a host of information with that. So I just wanted to point it out that on Friday, we're having a Platinum VIP for 20 people. It's an intimate session. So at this time, I'm going to turn back over to Stacy so that you can ask Stacy your questions. Listen, ladies, it's time for us to be intentional about finishing 2017 strong and transforming 2018. The process never changes. So each year we're just going to finish stronger and stronger and transform in the following year. So any questions yet? Where is the conference located? Yes, the conference is in Bushkill, Pennsylvania. It's going to be in Pennsylvania at the Bushkill Inn and Conference Center. And yes, Stacy, I agree. That's a crazy deal with all of the bonuses that we have, along with it. But we just wanted to make sure that it was affordable for ladies. We wanted to make sure that you had no excuses but to be in that room. So we're open now for Q&A. About the conference or for Stacy about the information, regarding our events.
So awesome, you guys. You have to take advantage of that great deal. I love it. I'm excited to be at Lyft. So thank you so much for the invitation, Ranelli and Kim. And I just know it's going to be fantastic.
And thank you for saying yes. We're excited.
For sure. I'm also always really looking forward to expanding my network and learning about new amazing women. So I think you were mentioning someone, Amber.
Amber Noble Garland,
Yeah,
yes.
I don't know who that is. So I'm about to look her up because she sounds amazing.
She's awesome. She was the brand manager for Layla Ali. She still
Oh,
does some work with Layla. Amber is going to be part of Driven Success with April Franks Hunt in that book.
oh,
She
great.
Yeah, she's partnering with Jack Canfield for another book that's going to be released this summer.
Wow.
Just some awesome stuff. So,
Great.
just some great, great, great people we have coming out to the Lyft conference this year.
Love that. Congrats, ladies.
Awesome.
Okay, I see a couple of questions here in the chat. So Carol asked, how do you start out with the media partnerships? What will they be looking for from me? So really good question. So how I start out is I try to identify which media outlets share an audience with me. So if I know that my audience that I'm looking to reach, right, for Blogalicious is multicultural women, I'm going to look for other media outlets that share that same audience because that only makes sense. And then I'll reach out to them, share a little bit about my event and my brand, and also making sure to include a value proposition for them, right? Like what's in it for them, why it would be a good look for them to partner with me. And what they're going to be looking for from you is exactly that. What return on their investment of giving you their platform will they get? So you want to think about what would be valuable to them. Could you send a newsletter out, right? Sharing with your community about their media outlet. Could you do some social media? Could you perhaps promote a campaign or event that they have going on in exchange? So just kind of think about what value adds you can give to them to make it a mutual win. Okay, and then Phil asked, when you ask for event sponsorships, how much of the total cost do I suggest you ask for? That is a great question. Pricing is a huge question, and we could talk about that for a long time. But the short answer is here's my philosophy. Sponsorships are never guaranteed and they're not predictable, right? Because you're kind of at the mercy of what their budgets are, etc. So when I'm planning an event, I like to get my total event budget, right? I list out every single expense. And then I will try to price my tickets accordingly so that my ticket sales can cover the cost of the event. That way, if and it's always an if, I do get sponsors. It's just icing on the cake, right? So that's ideal. If you know, let's say your event is going to cost you $5,000, and you're going to have 100 people there, then you know how much each ticket has to sell for. That's just math. Now, if you are confident that you can secure sponsorships, then what you can do is, um, what I like to do is have sponsorship packages at different price points. And each package in your deck should add up to what you need to cover your event. And then you know you have to put in the work and actually sell them. So again, if your event costs $5,000, your sponsorship packages should add up to at least that, if not more. And then you know exactly how many you have to sell, right? Okay, I've got to sell 10, vendor spaces at $100 each. Then I've got to sell, 10 mid-level sponsorships at $500 each, whatever it is. So you want to be very intentional about knowing what your overall budget is and then breaking that up into either tickets or sponsorship packages. And I know that was a lot in like a couple of sentences, but hopefully that made some sense for you. Okay, let's see here.
While
Um,
you're looking for that, I just wanted to say congratulations to Stephanie for taking action and purchasing ticket to the Lift conference. Yay!
all right, so exciting. I'll see you there, Stephanie. That's cool. Okay, and then Star asked, how do we start asking for sponsors? Another great question. Um, so, first of all, you want to make sure you have your sponsorship kit ready to go. And in there, you want to have an overview of your event. You want to have who your attendees are, because that's why people are going to sponsor you. You want to have sponsorship options in there. And then, of course, information about your event program and your venue. And then you want to reach out to potential sponsors that would have an interest in your audience. And so you can, I always like to, oh, here's a tip for you. If you go to justicefergie.com, which is my blog, if you sign up for the email list, you'll get a free 4-week program on how to work with the brands of your dreams. It's called Brandorama, and it's a free 4-week training. So that could be a good place for you to start. But in there, I give you some tips about how to mine your networks for sponsorship contacts, because a warm contact is always better than a cold one, right? So I rarely just kind of cold call or cold email a potential sponsor because they get inundated with those requests all day long. I always try to find a warm lead, meaning someone who I have a relationship with or someone who I've been introduced to by our mutual acquaintance. And so if you go to justicefergie.com, sign up for that free 4-week program, and I'll give you a lot more detail than I can do in this Q&A in that free program. All right, I think those are all the questions that I see in the chat. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. I really appreciate that. And I had a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see everyone at Lyft.
Yay, this was great information, great questions, guys. We thank you so much for joining. I know we had a little technical difficulty in the beginning, but we conquered it, right? And we were able to get through the information and get great notes. I know I'm going to be going over this video, this webinar, and making sure that I captured all I needed to capture. So the replay is going to go out to you tomorrow. So make sure you take a look at that and just listen to it again. And like Stacy said, let's meet at Lyft. Let's meet at Lyft and have learn and grow in our businesses. All right. So good night.